Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Creative Cat Podcast. My name is Ray Breezee. I do video, photography, and music, and I'm just here to help out all the creative artists and entrepreneurs. So let's get to it. All right, guys. So today's podcast, I just want to talk a little bit about something that I've been realizing as for myself is just the three different type of content creators. And the reason why I bring this up is because I watch a lot of YouTube. I watch a lot of YouTubers, and sometimes I think, man, how is it that some YouTubers kind of blow up faster than others? And one aspect of that I know is that, as I was mentioning, there's three different type of creators, and this is one of them. There's this YouTuber I've been watching. Her name is Kelly Stamps. I think she's pretty funny and whatnot, but she's been blowing up as a YouTuber and whatnot. And she's one of the type of content creators that is just an entertainer. And right now, with everything that's going on, people want to be entertained. People don't really want to deal with the reality of situations that we're going through. People losing their jobs, people government failing us, and a lot of other crazy things. Social unrest, social injustice, people not being served justice and stuff like that. People want to be entertained, and so one of the biggest type of content creators, like I was saying, is people wanting to be entertained. And so you kind of have to dig deep into yourself and into who you are, and just kind of admit if you fit that category. I may be funny to my wife, but I'm not funny to most of the audience because I'm pretty serious. You kind of have to get to know me. I'm a kind of a closed book to the people outside that don't know me, but to the people that know me, which are very few that are selected. Let me make sure this is recording. Yes, all right. To the very few that know me, I'm pretty funny, but besides that, there isn't a lot of people that really know me. But that's one of the things that you kind of have to think about. So if you're not an entertainer and you're trying to make content creation that's entertainment, you might be able to fake it till you make it for a little bit, but if that's not who you are, it's not really going to be fun. It's not going to be who you are, and you want to be who you are when you're making content, It might not make you as much money, but that's okay. You'll find people that are just like you, and that's very important. If you're not an entertainer, then just be you. So that's the first type of entertainer, or the first type of content creators that there is. The second one are informers. So I would categorize myself under that umbrella, and the reason why is because I like to give people information. I like researching. I like being able to help people. Hold on, give me a moment. I don't know why this thing always acts up. All right. So I was mentioning, I'm an informer. I like helping people out. I like giving people information. I like trying to improve people's lives, and not that entertaining doesn't do that, but information can go a very long way. And it's just what's natural to me, I studied to be a pastor and stuff, but I actually ended up just wanting to teach people with music and stuff. I want to help people that came from my background, that came from the hood. I want to be successful myself first so that I can help out others. But there's still things that you do as you're growing as a business that you could teach other people that aren't that are a couple steps behind you. And so that's kind of what I want to do, and that's the second type of way to be a content creator. And then the last one is an innovator. So innovators are important because they make things new, they bring things that are new, and so there's those people that you have to follow and that you learn from. I'm sort of an innovator, but not really. There's people that just think outside of the box completely, and you just follow them because they're always doing the new things, and so those are the three types of content creators. And the reason I bring them up right now is because I want people to kind of think about which one you are. And once you figure out what kind of content creator you are, whether you're an entertainer or an informer or an innovator, that's going to help you to create content pretty fast and a lot easier, depending on your personality. You don't have to worry about doing the stuff that doesn't fit your personality, and that's really, really important for people to know, especially for me. Like, I wish, like, there's certain things that I wish I could do, but I know I'm more of an informer. So I've thought about like rapping before, but it doesn't really like fit me that much because I don't like being in front of a crowd, and I don't that's not like my place, my natural place to be. I just like to help people and give people information and whatnot. So that doesn't mean you can't cross over into a different ones, but yeah, just something to think about, just to get your guys' like juices flowing, or hopefully it helps you to create more content based on your personality. So I hope that helps you guys. The second thing that I want to talk about is telling people your story. So this is kind of new to me. I often don't really think like my life is too like inspirational and stuff like that. But like we just get so stuck in ourselves that we forget to tell people like where we came from, like what we're doing and stuff like that. And so one like this goes back to the content creation part. And somehow, for some reason, if you're like an informer like me, but you tell people about, like, you do like a vlog, or you tell people about your daily life, or one of the persons that I kind of like see doing this a lot is Kyle Beats. And so I know this podcast is particularly for like creative artists and entrepreneurs, but like this kind of goes this fits you because, you know, there's certain businesses that are doing better than you, that are kind of telling a better story about who they are. And people like that. Like, people like the transparency. It's kind of like a form of entertainment. And so, and it's inspirational. And so I think one of the biggest reasons why like Kyle Beats is very big as a YouTuber right now, it's because he tells his story. Like, he tells his story every day. He tells you a story every time he uploads a YouTube video, and it just gives you so much inspiration and stuff. And so I just started thinking about like ways that I could tell my story, and it can just be like your daily story. Like, you wake up, you're making food, and then you go do your work. You have some like issues in your work, and then you fix it, and you try to like tell people to keep on going. And so that to me is something that I'm going to try implementing on my YouTube channel, because right now, like, I'm doing a lot of just content creation that's informational, but I'm not doing stuff that's entertaining. And that's important because you want to keep audiences retention, and you want to make sure that people are like listening to you and all this stuff. But that takes a while. And so I was just realizing, like, man, like, instead of just, because if you're just always giving out information but you're not like inspiring people, like, people are only going to look for you for one thing. And then, people are only going to look to you for one thing, and then they're going to leave. Like, they're like, oh, there was nothing captivating about you. There was nothing that they could relate to you. There was nothing that like makes them think about you again. And so you kind of have to think about that and try to implement that. And so that's why entertainment as a content creator is important. You might not have to like be dancing, doing all these crazy TikToks and stuff, but like even just doing like telling your story can be a form of entertainment. And so I think that's very important for content creators, because often we're just throwing out information but not really trying to relate to people. And that's very important for social media. That's why it's called social media, so you can be social. And so I want to, I know I'm repeating myself a lot, but I want to move into like, okay, I'm solving a problem for the person, right? For whatever content that I'm making, but how am I inviting them to my life so that they can be inspired? Like, that's super, super important. And if you don't think about that step, like yeah, you can add value to people, but there's just so many people adding value already. Like, how are you inspiring people? Like, if you can't inspire people, then like, I don't think you'll like last very long in what you're doing. And so that's just the next step that you want to do as a content creator. And that's something that I'm going to be doing as well. And so I hope you guys kind of join me in my journey of doing that. And yeah, those are the two things that I have right now. Give me a moment. I'm going to try to figure out something else to talk about. All right, guys. And the third topic that I want to talk about today is practically giving people chances, but not depending on them. So, one of the things that I'm struggling right now as like a business owner, particularly for music, is that I'm trying to find people to work with, and artists can be kind of difficult to work with. They're very like sporadic and stuff, like random, and sometimes not punctual, but that's okay. So the other day I gave someone like the opportunity to do like music with, to do like a music video, to like do recording with them, and initially they weren't really replying and stuff like that, and I just started thinking like, you kind of have to go the extra mile to work with people, but not so much that you have to depend on them. Like how do I say this? Like, as I was talking about earlier about just making content creation that like it's inspirational, but also at the same time, like, not only do you have to just give people stuff, but you have to listen to what they want, listen to what they need, but also like be willing to listen and to reach out. Like, my personality, like I think I mentioned it before in this podcast, but I'm the type of person that like just wants to work, like get in and get out, and like, you know, just finish what you're doing, you know, like that's my personality. But honestly, like, I have to start thinking more about what the other person wants, about what the other person is thinking. Like, or maybe they forget, like, if you DM someone and they're not responding, like try again. Like, I often, like, I forget that people are like really, really busy, you know, and so you have to kind of like just bother them, you know, not so much, but just to show that like, hey, like, I'm still here, like, hey, let's do this, like, I'm serious, you know, because you don't know how many people are trying to reach out to them, or how many people are like they've been let down by, and they don't take people seriously. And so you just have to be consistent and in a kind manner, you know. And so, like, give people chances, you know, to do things with, but don't depend on them. You know, if you're like bending over, breaking your back, like, obviously, like, you're not gonna do it. But also try to be like as nice as possible. Sorry about the airplane, but yeah, that's practically all I really have to talk about today. I know the podcast seemed to be getting shorter and shorter, but yeah, that's about it. Oh, last thing, I remember I was talking to you guys about creating merch. I guess since right now I have the podcast and whatnot, I'll just show you guys. So see, Lucky Cat Beats. So I made this hat. If you guys are curious about making a hat, there's a podcast that I made. The podcast was just talking about making merch for your brand and stuff. And this came in about 2 to 3 weeks, and I was using Printful or Printful. I forget. It's on the podcast. I think it's Printful. And the hat cost me like $30 the first time to make it, and then the second time it's about like $22. So if you're thinking about doing that, make sure that you go check out that episode. But besides that, like, I really hope the best for you guys. Let me do a little quick recap of what I was talking about. So today's podcast was essentially about the 3 different type of content creators that there are. The first one being informative, the second one being creative, and then the last one being an innovator. And these are important because it will help you figure out where you land. And once you figure that out, you'll be able to pump up more content depending on your personality. And also to realize, like, the harsh realities, if you don't fit one of those, then that might mean that you have to work harder to be in that category. But try to go to the one that's like naturally yours, master that one a little bit, and then move on to the next ones. And then the second thing that I talked about was, hold on, give me a moment. I'm gonna have to edit that out. I need to have everything on my notes because I have really bad memory. All right, the second one is telling people your story. Like, that's important because it will help people to like understand who you are and be a part of who you are, and to help to inspire people, because we all have stories. Like, we all come from difficulties that we have to rise up to, and people just really need that for inspiration. Like, I know I need that on a daily basis, and I watch like a bunch of other YouTubers and stuff, and it helps me out. And you have the ability to do that, so you should do that to help out others. And then the last thing that I talked about was giving people chances and not depending on them. And try to understand people as much as you can, but also don't like break your back trying to do it, you know. But yeah, that's basically today's recap. I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. If you guys have any questions or anything, make sure that you guys hit me up on my IG. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. Peace.